Episode 7. Wow, man, it's just 7. The number of completion, like just I
Lucky
like what
seven.
we got. Lucky 7, man. I like what we got going. It's fun. Obviously, we wanted to be interacting with you all, our audience, but we're having a blast through this whole process. So episode 7, I mean, we're gonna get right into it. I mean,
Hmm.
Cale and I are in this space in our life where we're getting, we just got done playing basketball in college, and we finishing up graduate school. So now, like, looking for jobs, right?
Next
Looking
phase
for
of life.
Yeah, next phase of life. I mean, it's like get to the real world and applying. Definitely, I mean, you can speak on it, but like, I feel like it's kind of like a rejuvenation of like, okay, I'm looking for a job. Whether it's temporary, part time, full time. I'm looking for a job in my career. Like for you, how do you feel, or what's that feeling like looking for a job? Because
I
we know
mean,
we need one, but it's still
mhm.
like now it's full time type of stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like what's that feeling?
I mean, it's two ways I feel, the good and the bad. The good is, I mean, you can pretty much apply for any job you want. Like it's like going
Yep.
Christmas shopping. If I want to apply for a job in a different state, in a different city, big company, little company, I can do it. Like nothing's stopping me from applying. So that's the fun part. It's like, if you grew up and you wanted to always be a lawyer or always work a certain sales job or always do something like, especially after college, you could do it. After high school, you may want to go to college, get a degree, get the boost your chances. But after college, you can do whatever you want to do. Like that's what makes it fun. You now really have probably the best chance to get whatever job you want.
Yeah.
The downside is reality, knowing
Mm,
that you know if it's a good job or even if it's a bad job, if it's a job period, people are going to be applying for it, especially in
yeah.
major cities or places you may want to go. It's competitive, and even if you feel like you meet the right credentials, have the right expertise, background, personality, it still may not work out. So that's the frustrating side of applying for a job. You may want the job more than they want you, and you could be let down having high hopes. So what
Yeah.
about you, man? What's your thoughts on applying for full-time jobs? Your career.
And the thing for me is like I'm kind of well, I guess we're both in a sense still open to a lot of different options. Like I want to still go professional for basketball or track, whatever. But like in the meantime, like none of that's guaranteed. So I know I got to be employed. I'm getting married soon. So thinking about that side of life, it's still I want to live my dream, but I gotta reality. You still gotta be realistic with yourself to know that nothing's guaranteed. But for me, I feel like this is like the first time because normally if I had a job in the past, part time, whatever, it was I still had school coming up. Like this is the first time where I'll be getting a job where this is really my primary focus. Like if I want to
Mm-hmm.
go work out or if I want to do anything else, like all of that is in a sense not mandatory. Like this is my sole focus. So for me, having to multitask for like so many years of my life, I want to be an attorney, but I'm starting off as a paralegal. I get 100% of my attention to this. I feel like that's really gonna help me like thrive, be able to elevate, be able to learn, be able to succeed due to the fact of this is my like I have laser focus on this one thing, and I know you can relate too because practice, games, traveling, businesses on the side, school,
Cool.
tests, waking up early, 6 a.m. workout, running miles. It's like you in a sense don't have to do that. You got to focus on your job. So I'm not saying it's gonna be easier, but I didn't like working up, doing essays, doing all that. We did that for free. I'm in a sense getting paid for something that I say I love doing, and I can have more focus on it. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most when having a job. Now, that conversation can go, we can go talk about getting the job and what the jobs offer. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously we have plenty of ways we can go about this to discuss getting the jobs, which I feel like accessibility to Indeed or ZipRecruiter, that's pretty easy. But when you look at like what jobs are paying,
The
it
wage
kind
you
of
want.
yeah, like I'm not gonna steal your thunder, but it's frustrating to see like I got a degree, I got certifications, but what they say nowadays, the math ain't mathing. right?
Mm-hmm.
Like what? So as you know, we're young in our early 20s. Let me say, it's not all about the money. It's not all about the money, but but like you go ahead. You got it, man.
It's like
I'll let you take this.
some jobs, I feel like very few jobs, are based off of you have to be working in the field for 20 plus years, have to have all this expertise, experience, history, yada yada. Like unless you want to become an astronaut or become the president, like I feel like your resume doesn't have to be so extensive. A lot of
Yeah,
jobs I feel like want people like us, people who fresh out of school, have the degree, in their 20s, have the whole life work ahead of them because that's a longer time we could be an employee, work for you, help the business. And like we're young, like we're not gonna get burnt out. Again, this
yeah,
is
the
probably
fact.
a lot of our first like real jobs. Brian said it too. Me too. I've only worked part-time jobs. I've always had school coming up, basketball, both. I've always worked
Hmm.
part-time jobs. So never really even a 40-hour work week. So like we're like the ideal prospects and candidates for jobs. That's what I would think. I want somebody who's young, fresh out of school, wants to be a sponge, wants to come in and be with me for the rest of their life. I wouldn't, want somebody, I mean, depending on the job, you don't really want somebody who's been burnt out for 30 years of working, you
Yeah,
know. And what we're saying is like it's frustrating that, we feel like we're the ideal prospects and, the reality is hitting that we're not, you know, we're not having jobs jump on us, so to speak. At least I'm not. I'm not having jobs jump on me. Like obviously I gotta go out there and market it and, promote myself, but it's like I've heard a lot of no's in the past few weeks I've been applying for jobs and it's been very surprising.
yeah. Well, I mean, those are a part of it, and that's
Yeah.
still. I'm not really talking about the nose versus what I'm talking about the perception of what we were, and we talked about this kind of like on episode one, how what we were taught about, you when you go to school, you get like finding a job and certain numbers that you'll have, that would be different. Seeing that now is like not saying that I regret going to school because if I didn't go to school, I wouldn't be able to, get awards like that, All Americans and juries like that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be able to do that. But looking back at it now, it's like 4 years being able to have experience would have put me ahead of where I am now. And I got a
Mm-hmm.
college degree. I have my paralegal certificate, and it's still jobs that I applied for one, and I got a response today that with your degree, with your certificate, you get 17 an hour, and 17 an hour arguably could be seen as a livable wage, maybe not. But I got some statistics for y'all that I found just recently about how the cost of living versus the increase or the decrease thereof of wages. So check this out. So the national median rent has increased by a record setting of 17.6% over the course of 2021, and that's through the span of these last years. This article is very recent. Now, on the other hand, from February 2022 to February 2023, real average hourly earnings decreased 0.3%. So there goes the question, perspective family. We, in our, whether you're hourly or salary, are in a sense getting paid less in a variety of jobs to have to live for more. So even if I want an apartment, if I want a small house or something, the way in which the rent is increasing is not correlating to the money that people are making in their jobs. And people are complaining, well, just go to school, do that. Like people are going to school, people are getting certified, and there's still jobs that they want to pursue in. If you have a passion, go for it 100%. But if
Mm-hmm.
I'm passionate about nursing, if I'm passionate about this field, engineering, whatever, obviously working your way up, I just don't see how organizations and companies aren't seeing these numbers that we're seeing and aren't adjusting it, because you hear a lot of negatives where, oh, raising the wage will cause this or will cause that. But in reality, things are decreasing, and what people have to do every month, their payment, home, bills, insurance, all of that is increasing. Rent, all of the necessities of life are increasing. And the thing that helps me provide for my life is decreasing. And whether that's a small or a big percentage, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And you can survive, you can live, you can grow. Obviously, it's many ways to gain income, which we'll talk about later. But the traditional way of getting a job, what they tell you, get a job, go to school, do all that. I'm in a sense struggling due to the reality of what's going on.
hmm And I mean, it's interesting, bro. Like I had told Brian earlier today, you know, traditional school, they teach you go to school, get a degree, get a job, and live your life for the next 50, 60 years, 40 years, whatever. But it's like today, one of the persons I had one of the jobs I had to interview with, the person interviewing me, and no disrespect to him, he was a cool dude, and I'm happy that he's my age roughly and worked his way up. He didn't even have his
Mm-hmm.
bachelor's degree. So the person that, has a say in if I get hired or not doesn't even have the degree I have. Like, but
Yeah.
growing up, all I heard growing up was if you don't even have a 4 year degree, not a associate's degree, but a 4 year degree, you're never going to get a job. It's going to be real hard finding a job. Here I am with my bachelor's, applying for a job, and the hiring manager doesn't even have their bachelor's. Like,
The
and
irony.
it's yeah, and it's just like again, no disrespect to the guy, he was cool, he's my age, he said he's going to get his degree later on, but it's like it just goes to show, bro, that nobody really knows. Every job is different. Nobody really
Yeah.
knows what it takes to get a job. I mean, the only trait I can think that applies to every job is to work hard. That's the only trait. But being logical, creative, emotional,
So
high strung.
you mean like nobody knows what it takes, or
I
each
mean, like,
path is different?
yeah, like it's just so many different jobs, variables, and varieties that you can't just say if you do these 10 things, you'll be successful in any job. Like the only trait I think that applies
Mm.
to every job is working hard. Like getting a degree doesn't apply to every job. Sometimes, I mean, even showing up on time doesn't apply to every job. Some jobs are showing the staff, they just happen you're showing up. Like
Thing
I
I
could
think
say
like go ahead.
this last part. I mean I could say I think the only trait that really matters is just working hard. Like
Yeah.
everything
I
else
mean,
is kind of
obviously following the
up for
rules,
debate.
obviously, but I mean, you
Yeah.
gotta think like people working in the job I was referring to, like people working full time remote now because with COVID-19 was a terrible time, but it created opportunities to where somebody can get out of their bed, clocking on their laptop, if they're a salesperson or if they're doing calls or if they're paralegal, like I don't have to leave my house when I'm making a full time income. So obviously working, making a living for yourself has been made easier, but I don't like when older generations fault our generation for evolving. Like,
hmm
oh, back in my day, well, y'all didn't have cell phones. Oh, we used it. Well, y'all didn't have this technology. If you were to have that in your generation, you would have taken advantage of it as well. So
hmm
my only thing with these companies, organizations, and I think this would be a perfect segue to us talking about business and us wanting to have business one day, is like the notion that there's not enough money going around needs to stop. Right now, I
hmm
don't know all the details, I don't know all the numbers, but you hear a lot about, oh, if we raise the national minimum wage, prices for your burger or your sandwich will go up. And the thing is, you have, if you were to look up a stat, I could bet everything that CEOs, executives, just business owners are making more an increase versus what their employees. Obviously, they're going to make more than their employees, but it shouldn't be a staggering increase in how much they're making versus the wage not increasing. And
hmm
so for me, when we talk about it, we see it like if you, Cale, were a Fortune 500 business owner and you see the rent increasing, but nationally the the wage of the hourly earnings decreasing as a business owner, how are you addressing this problem for your company and for
hmm
your employees to feel comfortable and to say, you know what, nothing, life isn't perfect, but I love working for Cale because XYZ. Like,
And I mean, it's like I love when we do stuff like this in the podcast. Like we create scenarios and
yeah,
try to answer them. I mean, personally for me, I would it would start my team, start my whether it's my board or my regional district managers. If it's a big company, it starts with them. I'm getting together with them and figuring out what's the average wage in your region, your district, your area. I may have
mm-hmm.
somebody stationed in Georgia. I may have somebody stationed in California. Like what's the wage? What's the average in your area? Okay, now how do we make that competitive? How can we raise our wages to make it
Yeah.
competitive with that? And like Brian said, I mean, obviously we know that managers, CEOs, people at corporate are going to make way more than people actually out in the field in, branches and offices. But like if the CEO's making hundreds of millions a year and the entry level
And it's
employee
increasing.
and it's
Yeah.
increasing and the entry level employee, the fry or the burger flipper is still making the bare minimum you could pay them in the country, 725 North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. Like you shouldn't want, I say it like this. It's weird that CEOs of companies want the maximum out of employees, but treat and pay them the bare minimum. I'm paying you
Mm-hmm.
legally the lowest I can pay you, which is $725 across the country. That's legally the lowest I can pay you. States can pay you more. They can choose to pay you more, but the bare minimum they can pay you is $725. So I'm paying you the bare minimum, but I want you to come in 40 hours a week, work as hard as you can, do all you can, balls to the walls for 8 hours a day for me, 12 hours a day for me, but I'm gonna pay you the bare minimum I can pay you.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, I mean, it seems like a simple solution, but in reality, I mean, we can get into specifics like what we want to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, like, it's a lot of things I definitely want to be well versed in, like real estate, stock, and that's something that I won't have to have an employee for. So those are sources of income where they can become passive, and those can be used as ways where I might fund a future business. But having things like if I want my own office space, or if I want to start a storage unit business, and I might need somebody at a desk, or I need people to to clean certain areas. It just seems like I feel like the incentive when it comes to obviously pay, benefits, insurance, offering that, all of that is obviously being a successful small business owner or a big time. But it's just I feel like you have to put yourself in the employee's shoes for a lot of things. I mean, I'm in a class right now in graduate school talking about like crisis prevention, crisis communication. Like you got to plan for a lot of different things, like crisis happening, all those types of things. But I just don't feel like people are putting themselves in the shoes of their employees. And I mean, and you said something earlier, like earlier, like in the week or just something where we talked about like we make living so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously you got to work to be able to provide for yourself and your family, but it's easier to get in debt than it is to be financially free. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the frustrating part that as a future business owner, which I have a lot of ideas and a lot of things, I can't say everything, but it's just that type of knowledge or that financial literacy, being able, I would be the type of business person that through my company, if you hire with me, I offer you this pay, but through this, we have a certain app or website where we offer free classes about real estate. We offer free
Mm-hmm.
classes about learning credit. We offer, if you're my employee, and so now you're looking at satisfaction because of their pay, and you're looking at retention because if somebody's having a good job and they love it, they're getting paid right, and they're learning a skill to where they don't have to quit their job that's making them money, why would that person leave? I'm teaching them or I'm helping them learn. If they do leave, I, in a sense, won't be hurt because that's what I want for my employees.
The
It
growth.
just seems like some employers want you in that circle. Work for me, get paid, da, 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 same thing. But in reality, creating a wider, in a sense, realm for your people that work for you to be able to succeed financially, to be comfortable living, why would, in a sense, somebody not want to work for you? Seeing that it's a lot of things going well for them. And hey, as virtual as this world is, hey, I want to move here. Hey, you still could, work for me if you want. Like it's just that I feel like needs to change with the amount of resources like people have. Like, you know what I mean? What do you think are other ways? Because I just named a few, but
Mm-hmm.
like stuff like that. Like, why is that stuff not taught from certain jobs? Like, if you work for Amazon, you get a course on how to drop
Just
ship, things like
or something
business
like
ideas like that.
where Amazon just learn how to become a warehouse manager. Like I think kind of what Brian's trying to say is
Yeah.
too, like, obviously learning different life skills and jobs, like courses about real estate, finance and stuff, but just like job advancement. Like I've worked
That's facts. That's facts.
multiple jobs for years and stayed in the same exact position I was, same exact pay I received when I first got in there for years. In high school especially and yeah, in high school. Like I worked at the car wash for over a year, got the same exact pay, worked at McDonald's for over a year, same exact pay. Like, and so it's like there's no advancement. I wasn't learning much. I mean, I learned, a little bit, but like I'm not learning much as is. I'm not getting compensated for being here over a year. Like I know for personally for my businesses, when I get them all set up, I want to have milestones. You with me for a year,
Mm,
you get a certain bonus. You with me for 2 years,
mm,
certain bonus. 5 years, certain bonus. Like I want to have milestones that encourage my people to stay with me, so I can have a high retention rate. And
Yeah.
I know obviously the customer comes first, but I truly believe if your employees are happy, the business is it can only succeed. If you have employees that are happy to work for you and are happy to come work every day and love and enjoy being around the team, it's no reason nothing's gonna stop your business.
I mean,
But I
prime
mean,
example. I mean, Chick-fil-A is like they're not perfect. Obviously, it's you can always be somebody that's not satisfied,
mhm,
but they're one of the companies, whether it's their pay, whether it's the treatment, whether it's training, for the most part, whether their line is hundreds of cars or one car, you get consistently throughout different states. Now it's different, obviously, but you
mhm,
get relatively the same service when you go to Chick-fil-A. And so, what separates Chick-fil-A from a McDonald's or from a Taco Bell? It's like it has to be something in that business
and
model
and
that
the
makes it
training.
to where the public perception of when you think of Chick-fil-A and we think of McDonald's or Taco Bell, what is the difference? And I feel like that's the big thing about having a business is having that identity of like what you want to be known for. And I think for me and you, because I want to do nonprofits too, because I want to be the type of person that's making income that, for myself, by myself, like real estate, stocks, all that type of stuff. But if I have a business, I, in a sense, don't even have to profit from that business in my pocket. Like obviously I'm giving back to the business, paying the business, advertising, promoting it, growing it, scaling it. But when it comes to money in my pocket, I don't want to be a billionaire. Like I obviously want to be wealthy. I want to be able to provide for my family and have fun, enjoy myself. But I don't have to, in a sense, stick to the status quo of what a business owner should do. Just
Mhm,
just seeing how, what if I have a business that creates and prompts more business owners, and it's like you hear that rhetoric and that narrative in life that it's survival of the fittest. If you don't grind, you don't eat. Like obviously that some of those can be true, but I'll say everybody can eat. Everybody can eat. Like it's obviously in certain spaces there are competitive, but the amount of opportunities, the amount of money out there, the amount of things and the resources that we have, everyone should be able to have the same fair chance to eat and to get their plate and to get their seat at the table. But
mhm,
we've been taught for so many years as you got to be the best, you got to be this, you got to be that. Be the best you and be in an area that helps you grow and watch how that changes your life for your future generations. And that's all we want for this next generation of jobs and businesses. So, and that's an advantage of having skills of your own because
mhm.
you can pour into more in your business when you have X amount of dollars coming in a month from something that nobody can take away from you. Like skills, graphic design. I'm a graphic designer. Photography. Nobody can ever take that skill away from you. Whatever you do in your life, nobody can ever take those skills. I would recommend just for me, myself, and Cale, continually growing our skills, but also viewers watching. Like if you have something that you're passionate about that is a skill, and you can maybe turn it into a business or a hobby, grow on it, learn it, like see how you can perfect it because you never know how you'll need it or how you'll use it in whatever field you're in.
Hmm. And I mean, not to get off topic, but it's like that's the beauty of the world we live in today. If you don't know how to do something, barely know how to do something, or they're really good at something, you can YouTube University and Google college your way through
Facts,
it. Like you don't have to pay
facts.
nobody to do nothing. I mean, you can talk to mentors or talk to people who are successful, but realistically speaking, if you don't know how to do something, whether it's real estate, how to form an LLC, how to use Photoshop, how to write a resume, you can YouTube and Google your way through it. Like that's the beautiful thing about today. If you don't know how to do something, you can find out in seconds, minutes, a day, and become not an expert, but you can become you can hone in your skills on it.
Yeah, I mean, you bring that up. I was looking at options trading, which obviously interested in stock market, but long term that takes a lot of skill. But options trading is a more shorter version of the stock market. And it was a YouTube video, and this guy linked a free course, and I clicked on the course, and it had like different lessons. And like people can call that fluff, whatever. That's information learning. So like what Cale is saying, I mean, it's really no excuse. So I mean, we talk about a lot of things that we feel like employers, executives, business owners should do. But from the employee side, or people seeking a job, what are things we can do? Like if you have a remote job and you're on call for 8 hours
Mm-hmm.
and it's a pretty slow day, maybe while you were talking, go to your experience,
I'm
how
about to
you
say.
use, yeah, like we
I was just
can
about
give
to
me
say.
that perspective.
Hey man, me and Brian, we've been boys for a long time, man. Our minds connected.
we
But it's
we here,
like
we here. Yep.
like he's saying, I had a job recently. I worked for the past 2 years. Well, I was up all night. Didn't mind that. I like overnight, but it was an overnight job. I sat behind the desk all night in a hotel and pretty much made sure nobody died and the hotel didn't burn down. I did that 8 hours a day for a few days a week. And so, as you can imagine, I'm a night owl anyway, so I'm always up. But as you can imagine, I don't have anybody to talk to. It's late, so I can't be loud. Most people would just watch Netflix, watch movies. I was in school at the time, so I did some homework every now and then. But I took advantage of having 7 hours out of 8 hours quiet time. Nobody, I know nobody's gonna bother me for the most part. It's late, no one's up.
Mm-hmm.
I took advantage of that, and that was the 2020 year, the last year. Like I said, I worked for 2 years, so I learned about real estate. I learned about stocks. I learned about credit,
Mm.
finances. I learned about, as much as I could in a, certain demographic, money demographic. Like I said, real estate, stocks, financial freedom, stuff like that, credit. I learned as much as I
Mm.
could in that 8 hour shift. Like that
Maybe
way when I
elaborate more on like your like what you learned about credit and how did that help you
mhm.
as of today.
I mean, it was, like I said a minute ago, it was as simple as YouTube or something, maybe not what is credit, but like how to get a certain credit score,
Yeah.
what impacts your credit score, positively, negatively. What's an inquiry? What's a hard inquiry? What's a soft inquiry? And I mean, Instagram too. Social media is also a great tool. You can follow, you know, I call them social media gurus, but you can follow these people on social media who know what they're talking about loosely, maybe not know what they're talking about, but you can find the information is there. Is what I'm trying to get at. You can find anything, and with credit, I mean, a lot of the stuff I learned, I had to learn myself. Like I had to do it. So I would see somebody, a YouTube video, a link, a social media post say, do this with your credit, yada yada. And if it worked, I did it. If it didn't work, I never use it again. And I know I
Mm-hmm.
was talking to Brian today, I don't mind sharing this information, but I'm, trying to purchase a home soon. And one of my credit scores the bank had pulled and printed to me and mailed it to me. One of my credit scores was a 770. And if you know anything about credit, I mean, the golden
That's real good right there.
anything over 700 is pretty good. And at 22 years old, fresh out of college, one of my credit scores is 770. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just because years ago, I googled how to get a credit card. What's the best credit card for somebody with no credit history? Like I literally did what I just said you should do. I hopped on the
Mm-hmm.
internet and figured it out. And within a few days, few weeks, few applications later, I had my first credit card. But because I had that one Google search, probably sometime at 2 in the morning a few years ago, I now have over 700 credit score at age 22. I
Mm.
can now, for the most part, get lower rates on any type of loan for the rest of my life. I'm probably not going to mess with my credit anytime soon. I already know what I have to do. I'm gonna keep doing that because it's been proven to work for me. All right.
Mm-hmm.
But that all started from one thought, one question. How do I get good with my credit? What's an inquiry?
Mm.
How to get a 700 credit score? How to fix your credit? How to
Mm-hmm.
build your credit? Like, that's what we're saying. The information is out there, but if you have a
That's
job,
facts.
I guess back to the original point, I'll let Brian get at it. If you have a job that provides you a lot of free time, use that free time. I could have spent that time
Yeah.
watching Netflix, watching comedy specials, but I said, you know what? Let me do some schoolwork. I'll watch Netflix and have fun for 30 minutes, but most of my shift tonight is going to be all right. Tonight, I'm going to learn about real estate. And I would break it down. I would say tonight's about residential real estate. Next night's about
Mm-hmm.
commercial real estate. Next night is about different type of real estate loans, FHA, VA loans, conventional loans, like NACA loans. I just broke it down into different shifts. Like what I want to learn about tonight. Tonight gonna be about credit. Tomorrow, how to build credit, different business credit, personal credit. Like I just broke it down like that. And so every shift, I may not have done something like, action wise, but I learned something. It's something I can put in my brain and lock away forever. Like, all right, when I get a credit card, when I get something on my something, I know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I appreciate that just because for me, I mean, we talk every day. So for me, seeing that and hearing that, I talked to my dad about credit, but also I talked to Cale and was like, hey, bro, like, this is my credit card. Like, what should I do? He gave me the steps. I'm happy to say I'm over 700 too. So it's like with success in general, I thought of this while you were talking. Like, sometimes you think about success, you think that it has to be perfection. When in
Mm-hmm.
reality, all you're doing is being consistent. So, well, with you, we're not saying because nobody's perfect. I mean, we're not saying every day out of every 24 hours you got to be doing this. Like, what if it's every day you spend 30 minutes working on something that you want to learn and you want to get better at? And like you
Mm-hmm.
told me the other day, like you have business ideas, you have You want to write a book or you want to do something, write it down. Write a note that says, okay, for 7 days out of the week, every day I'm going to spend 30 minutes on looking at what is credit. And just
Mm-hmm.
seeing, like, because I love Instagram, I love Twitter, I love all that stuff, YouTube, I love all of that. And I feel like as students, as somebody that works all the time, you definitely need to reward yourself just not feeling like you have to do something all the time. But it is a certain time, like you said, whether you're working, you have free time, spend a little bit of that time because 30 minutes will easily turn into an hour with something that gets interesting. An hour will
Mm-hmm.
easily turn into an hour 30 when you're like, man, I'm actually starting to make money or learn something from this. And especially with things that will impact your life in a sense more like you Kale, and like you'll be able to thank yourself 5, 10 years from now whenever you need a loan or whenever you're doing stuff because of stuff that you invested in time back when you were in your 1920s, like that type of stuff. And to me, it just makes life and it makes success attainable when you realize that you do not have to know it all. And we live in the age and the generation where I have a computer in my pocket. I have an encyclopedia in my pocket. I got a dictionary in my pocket. And a lot of people will tell me, like, Brian, you're so smart, you're so smart. Like, bro, you don't know how many conversations I'm in where I might not know something and I will Google it right then and there and be able to, like, wisdom and being intelligent is sometimes not knowing. And I mean, that goes sometimes to the Bible. Like, it's
Wise man seeks
okay,
counsel. Go ahead and say
a
it.
wise man seeks counsel. Yeah, exactly. There you go. You learned. Okay, but but like it just it's like, man, for what we're trying to do, we know, and the advice we're giving y'all, we you don't have to know it all, but be resourceful, use your time wisely, and that these lessons, I promise you, I'm telling you, and I'm telling the podcast, but I'm telling myself because there's gonna be things where I know and what I'll have to go through that I'll thank myself because I took advantage of my time. And I think another thing I'm interested to hear your thoughts on, also just have a conversation about is we talk about credit, we're talking about learning different skills in our free time, being resourceful, being useful with our time. So from your standpoint of, being in a sense, you have to start being independent. Like what things did you learn from credit that you have to apply like now when you're finding a house or you're looking for a job? Like what things are you applying now from your lessons with credit?
I mean, the biggest thing I can turn it back to when I got my cars. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, a lot of the stuff, perspective podcast viewers, people on Instagram, social media, a lot of the stuff I advise on is stuff I've already done. I've already either messed up
Yeah.
or been successful with. So I'm not really ever going to advocate for something or speak about something that I haven't personally experienced, especially if I'm giving advice. So I mean, I
Yeah.
can start with my car. I mean, when I got my car, I let dealerships run my credit 1,000 times over, and as you know, it that hurts your credit score. You get a negative impact on your score every time your credit's ran. So I was foolish and was ignorant and didn't know, so I let that happen. Now that I'm applying for a home, I'm only talking to one person, one loan officer when it comes to the home loan. He's already put my credit one time, so I know I already have they have my credit score. They know it. We're good to go. And next part is just getting a job. But I guess right now for me getting a home loan, it's to not get my credit ran a whole bunch by a whole bunch of different loan companies. And
Mm.
I I just want to talk about this briefly. It's weird, like the weird things that you have to do. Like it's just stuff that doesn't make sense in America. Like when you're getting approved for a home loan, there's like three things you can't do within like the 3 day period. It's one, you can't get any large amounts of cash or money. So if you get a job
Mm-hmm.
promotion, you have to turn it down. You can't you can't apply for any lines
Yeah.
of credit. And there's something else you can't do. But it's like who made those rules? Like you mean to tell me if I'm getting my dream home, but also my job in the same week wants to give me a promotion and I get a $10,000 bonus, I have to say, you know what? I would really love to take that money, but I can't because I'm getting a home. Like who made these dumb rules? And I kind of get, they have to account where the money's coming from, but it's like these are just dumb rules that people have to play by. But yeah, man, like I said, just as of right now, I'm not letting my credit get ran a whole bunch of times.
Yeah, I mean, that's important, and I feel like that's something that, I mean, me and other people listening could definitely benefit from. And it's kind of like stuff like this, man. I mean, people could be innocent with like, hey, I'm just trying to get a car, but you just don't know that
And people will take
certain,
advantage of that.
and that's really the sad because random tangent, but anybody that's ever been to get their oil change or something, if you get in your oil change or whatever, and they come back, hey, your engine light or whatever fluid need more of that. they try to some people, not everybody, but in certain companies, whether it's finances, whether it's maintenance on your car, when you do not know something, that somebody that's been doing something long enough knows what a person looks like or acts like that doesn't know something, they can try to penny pinch and take as much as they can from you. So that's another thing about the cruel game of life and just of experiencing stuff to where I have amazing individuals in my corner where I can call when I don't know something because it's just it's like it's kind of that's how it is. It's like that to me goes with the survival of the fittest. It's like, oh, you got to know it on your own. But things that you know you're about to go through, like okay, there's nothing wrong with researching and looking up how to do this or how to do this without taking away from your credit score. And I think those are the things too. Asking questions. I mean, people always say there's no such thing as a stupid question or a dumb question, which I feel like in certain aspects ask more questions rather than assume that you know something because as
Mm-hmm.
we know a lot of things change. The way things worked 10 years ago might not be the way they work now. I mean, we talk about we're talking about rent increasing. Like it's some things about maybe getting an apartment are different than they were 10 years ago, just about the way they're increasing. And I
Mm-hmm.
know my fiance stays in some apartments and things like just rent is just increasing like for current tenants. Now it's like man, it's just crazy how
Mm-hmm.
so much is changing, and what you might have thought you knew in 2020 is different in 2023. And I guess that's the a part about living in the world that is amazing. With just it's always ever changing, but it's also kind of hard to get a grasp on life when you feel like you just always got to learn something new. But that you know what I mean? That's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like a paradox. Like I love learning and learning new things, but I hate having to keep changing and I can't be comfortable.
You
You know
gotta
what I'm saying?
adapt. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
gotta you gotta adapt.
And I mean, not again, not like Brian said, not to go too off topic, but that's why I believe the power of networking and knowing, I may not know it, but I can call somebody, they can have answered me in seconds, and then I'll know it. Prime example, briefly,
Mm.
we have a friend, a former teammate, Quay Kimball, who recently started another company, another brand, another
Kimbo.
another business. I didn't mean to say his full name, but and he called me the other day.
He put out his gummy.
I'll bleep that out. But he called me the other day. He called me the other day and he asked me, he said, how do I get my business EIN number? And if you ever, formed an LLC, EIN number, simplest way to explain it is it's a social security number for your business. You can get it for free on the IRS website, but some places will charge you for that, even though you can get it for free. So he texted me and he was like, hey, how do I get my business EIN number? Can't you get it for free? I said, yep, I'll send you the link. 5 minutes later, he had the link and he was able to form his LLC. So that's a perfect example. He didn't know, well, he may have knew, but wasn't certain on something. He knew me. I formed a business before I have my LLC. Sent me a text. I got him answer in 5 minutes. Like so,
Mm.
even if you don't know something, just knowing the right person can still help you. Like you got to always be willing to talk to people, understand, and learn things.
Man, you better maybe go on another tangent. This is about life, folks. I'm
Go ahead.
23. I'm not old. I ain't old, but the birds of a feather flock together. Whoever you surround yourself with, and obviously you're gonna have to associate with a lot of different people that you might not have associated with because of a club, a group, a fraternity, sorority, a team, a job. You're gonna have to be around people that you might not associate with without that. But when it comes to your inner circle, be around people that want you to succeed and want you to do well because everybody that is close to you in proximity in your life might not want what's best for you. And somebody like Cale and I like having people that you can in a sense have humility with, like, yeah, I don't know this. B, how you do like you gotta be able to have people in your circle, like that example that Kel just brought up, that want what's best for you, don't mind you asking them questions, they don't mind asking you questions, and y'all are both on a path somewhere, wherever that somewhere is. But
Mm-hmm.
it's just about and it's not everybody, but you can't tell your dreams and your aspirations to everybody. You can't tell everybody what you plan on doing because everybody might not have those same good intentions as you think they should. So
Mm-hmm.
that like you saying that for me, just from my experiences in college and just seeing a lot of stuff, like you want to surround yourself around people like iron sharpers iron. Another verse I'm gonna put in there. Iron sharpers iron. We bring that up in athletics, we bring that up in jobs. In your inner circle, if you have people that are aspiring to be great, don't dull yourself down or drop your level to be around people. And that's not saying you don't have to associate with somebody, because they're not on your level. But when it comes down to that nitty gritty, we trying to get the bag, we trying to get our success. You can't have everybody in your circle because it's just, I mean, whenever you think of greatness, you don't have that many people in that realm. You know what I mean? Like, so
Mm-hmm.
be strategic, be smart, and just know it's important to know that you won't be able to reach those heights by yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
be surrounded and surround yourself, network, get to know those people to where you can get a phone call and be able to make something happen because of who you know, not what
Mm-hmm.
you know, but who you know.
And it's
So
like,
yeah, I'm
with some people, I mean, some people like you have your inner circle. You got to make sure you're not competing with each other. Like that's another thing. Like we all want to be great and
yeah.
successful, but we're not competing with each other. Me and Brian are close friends. We both want to be great, but we're not competing with each other. I'm not trying to step on Brian to get higher in life. Like I feel like some people, there are people out there who they want to be your friend, but at the same time they're plotting on you. Like, man, I'm gonna use this
Hmm.
against him later on, or yada yada yada.
Opportunist.
Yep, yep. So just make sure you got genuine people around you and people who don't mind helping you and asking questions, like like-minded people. And like you said, not every single one of your friends on your phone has to be an entrepreneur or business person. You can still have
Yeah.
yeah. Like you ain't got to be so serious to everybody, but that inner circle, that nitty gritty, like you said, that needs to be people who want to elevate, have the same goals and ambitions as you.
And then I'll stay on this topic, man. I don't care, but like it gets more into like the relational side of things where I don't know whether that's with social media, maybe so, but I guess the attitude that you have to, in a sense, be connected with so many people. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know when I was in high school, because my middle school, like it was like a feeder school to the high school, so like about 85%, 90 people that went to my middle school went to my high school. And I used to struggle with like always having to speak to everybody because I guess I was pretty popular, but it was to a point where I got in the hallway. I'm like, man, I know of a lot of people, and it's like, hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? It got tiring, and it's like the older I got, the more I realized, and I feel like it goes into saving time as well. It's like in life, we're so connected through social media, through this, through that. We feel the need that we have to connect with so many people and
Mm-hmm.
text so many people and call so many people. Like I'm the type of person, if we like this or if we're pretty cool, I don't have to talk to you for 3 months. We
Mm-hmm.
pick up the phone. Like I had this situation the other day with a friend of mine. We hadn't talked in a while. We picked up the phone. It was like nothing happened. Nothing ever happened. But this is way off topic. But it feels like nowadays when it comes to just time, like we feel like we have to be so involved with so many other people. In reality, if you have a relationship with somebody and it's positive, y'all both feed off each other in a positive way, you don't have to. I don't know if this sounds bad. You don't have to go out your way to talk to that
Yeah,
person every day
I know.
or
Yeah,
to
yeah.
reach. Like I feel like that applies so much, especially when we're all getting jobs. Like man, it's sometimes you might only have time for your first or second closest person in your life that day, and that's just you got your job, you got kids, whatever, and that's okay. But social media sometimes makes it to where I gotta be so involved in other people's lives. I gotta be so involved when if a person really wants what's best for you, they don't mind you grinding your life, and we'll catch up when we catch up. I wish you the best on your journey. I wish you the best in your life and your successes. But nothing has changed between us other than I don't see you every day at the calf, or I don't see you every day in class, or I don't see you every day in practice. That's the only thing that's changed with our relationship and our dynamic. And it's okay. Like I don't know who I'm talking to, but that thing just came over my mind. It was like, don't overwork yourself thinking you gotta please everybody and you have to talk to everybody every day.
Yeah.
That like as we know, college, high school, you're in proximity with so many people all the time. So yeah, you're gonna talk to somebody every day that you on a court with, or you in class with, or you got a group chat with. But once
Mm-hmm.
y'all separate, I'm in Delaware, you're in Idaho, live your life and still know that if that person is still a big part of your life or whatever, support them, like their pictures, do whatever. But I don't know. I don't
I,
know.
I get what you're
You
trying
get
to
where I'm
say.
going? You get what I'm trying to
It's
say?
and it's like briefly, we at the point in life where I'm trying to get a house. I'm trying to get a house. I'm about to get my full-time first job career. Let's just say, for example, I'm about to get married or I have a girl, like about to have a family. Like I got so much stuff going on. I ain't got time to talk to 25 people every day, check up on them, see how they're doing.
Man,
Like and
what?
like you said, that's how I am. Like if we close, I ain't gotta talk to you every day. I ain't gotta talk to you every week. I ain't gotta talk to you every month. But like, especially at
Hmm.
this point in our life, we got so much going on, so much to look forward to. Like I'm not saying I'm too busy to talk to people, but it's like my priorities are very, very in order.
Hmm.
Job, home, work, start my life off. Become an entrepreneur. Like I can text somebody, play the video game, go out to bars and stuff anytime. But like my priorities are very in line right now. And especially at this point in my life, like you start off working hard young. I can do what I want later on. This is the most important time I feel like is
Tell me about
refresh,
it. That's facts.
refresh, and it's the beginning. Like it's the beginning of our careers. So yeah.
And then you think about it, like this last point on this. If you think about it, we're the most obviously as each day goes on, we're the most connected generation or culture that have ever been in the history of humankind. Like I can call somebody from across the world. I can FaceTime somebody from across the world. We have never had this type of technology. So it's like nowadays you'll see things where people will say, oh, they ghosted me or this. We have just now been exposed to this type of technology and interconnection across nations, across different countries. So I just feel like from a human standpoint, just general, when it comes to human relationships, sometimes we overexert ourselves beyond what a normal human would have done if they didn't have a cell phone, if they didn't have social media, if they didn't have easy access to connect with somebody from across the world. And like you said, that's okay. We're on our individual path. We have different priorities. And and I feel like for me, it brings me joy to see somebody that I went to school with that I want what's best for, and they got a new job. Like I know some people I know from high school went to med school and they're doing good. Like that to me, just seeing that's like, man, congrats. Comment congrats. And it's good to see and just to know like, okay, everybody has their own path and it's okay. And for some people, and I really address this because for some people, Cale, it's hard, bro. It's
Mm-hmm.
hard to let go of always having that connection and talk with somebody. It's hard. So just knowing that certain priorities is it's hard, but it's normal. It's a part of life. And my biggest thing what I have is no matter how you how much you might talk to somebody in the future, like what can you do with that person while you cross paths with them? That's
Mm-hmm.
all you can control. I can't control when it's some people I've never seen. I never seen since I last seen them, and I won't see them ever again. But what did I do while I was with them? How did I treat that person? How did I leave an lasting impression on them that makes it to where I don't have to feel guilty for not
Mm-hmm.
reaching out or not like I did what I had to do. And maturing your life is knowing that you won't be able to talk to everybody, and you don't have the capacity to. So what did you do in that moment when you interacted with them in that time? Like how did you leave? What do they remember you as now? So that's all you
Mm-hmm.
can control. I don't know
Yeah,
why
man.
that just came over me to talk to talk about that, but
Nah, man. I mean, I agree. Like Brian's saying, like we're saying, like especially at this point in our life, we're done with school, looking to start our career, purchase a home, maybe start a family. Brian's getting married soon. Like we're not saying we don't care about nobody else, but we have priorities that are priorities. So yeah, man, I definitely
so,
agree.
yeah, man. I got on my tangent, but we were on the technology and credit and learning different things. So big, 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 big topic we talk about now is artificial intelligence. That is a huge, I guess, artificial intelligence has been around a long time, but when I talk specifically, I'm talking about Chat GPT. So, like, it's interesting because my professor the other day talked about how she doesn't mind us using it if we wanted to. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if y'all talked about that, but Chat GPT, if anybody doesn't know, you probably got a better definition than me, but it's artificial intelligence that is very specific with a prompt, or if you were to say,
It's
come up with a caption for my
it's all
clothing brand,
yeah.
like
To
you
loosely
got a better
describe it,
definition? Yeah.
just to loosely describe it, it's like you can ask it anything, it'll give you an answer. Come up with the caption for a post about the war between 1870 and 1875.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can ask it specific questions, broad questions. It can do it. I mean, and like I said, that's the loose definition. But I mean that's what AI sounds like to me. Like you ask it anything and it helps you out. And I got
But
a few points I want to address later on when we really get into it.
all right, yeah, I was just gonna be general, like just my general opinion on it, which I don't get mad when our world evolves.
Mhm.
Like, oh, AI is running. It's a part of us evolving. I mean, And you see a lot of people on YouTube making content like how I've grown my business because I've been using artificial intelligence. How I've grown my sales due to Chat GPT. And I feel like, I mean, it's a resource, it's a tool. And my professor actually said as long as we give credit or whatever, she said she doesn't mind it. But some students I know recently on social media got in trouble because the whole class used Chat GPT to write an essay. So obviously you gotta have checks and balances with it. But
I
I
mean,
don't see anything wrong with it. I feel like it's what you think when it comes to academic side of stuff.
like
Because you know
I was just
how
about to say, bro, like schools or everything's about to change, bro. Like these next, let's just say AI advances. I'm sure it advances fast or evolves fast. The next 5 to 10 years, everything's about to change because of AI. Like schools, like I mean, now we use Quizlet and stuff, but now it's literally I'm
whoa, whoa,
telling, and
whoa, whoa. I was
I'm
just
no
playing.
longer in. I'm no
I
longer
was
in
just playing.
school. I'm gonna say I'm no longer in school. Y'all can. I got
Yo,
my degree. What y'all gonna do? But
hey,
it's
before
like,
you get on that, professors, don't get mad at
oh yeah,
ChatGPT.
go ahead, go ahead and say it. Say it.
And if y'all gonna use the same test, like I said, summa cum laude, graduate, 4.0 cool. If you gonna have the same answers
Word for
to
word.
your test, don't
Word
be
for word.
mad. Word for word. Do not be upset if a student is being resourceful using their technology to assist them in their academic efforts. That's all I'm gonna say without saying too much. Because we
Mm-hmm.
love Quizlet, we love this resource that really helped us through hard times in college. Ain't nothing like when you got a test, you type it in and you like, yes,
Word for
yes,
word. Bar for bar. I'm telling
oh,
you,
my
bro.
heart is slow.
But it's like I feel like traditional schools. This dude a clown, bro. I feel like traditional schools is it's gonna change because now you have kids that can literally say, like I just said, type in an essay about this very specific topic.
That's
And I
right.
mean, it's like
And you could be
schools,
specific enough to say, and be sure to not plagiarize other sources. Like
yeah,
AI could be that smart.
yeah, AI has access to the whole internet. Like I'm sure they can figure out. And it's like,
No, but they have a source build. They can see. They might not be able to see plagiarism, but they can see if you used it. Like it's a reverse
yeah,
type of thing. Like
and it's like, I mean, with something like AI, I feel like it's not something you can just stop. Like they can't just say you can't use any type of AI in school. It's gonna have to be something they try to contain. Just like in sports, you can't stop them, you can only contain them. Like it's like the other
but
day,
my
Brian sent me. Well, let me say this
go
real
ahead,
quick.
go ahead.
The other day, Brian sent me something, or I may have sent it to him. It was like this social media person who used AI to make an entire video for him. They had AI create the topic, AI edit the
Mm,
video, AI do the transcript for the video, AI make captions for the video. I think I already said AI edit the video, and then AI post the video. Like so,
that's
all they had
hard.
to do was press record, read a script, and the AI took care of the rest. Like it's going to make our lives easier, but it's just going to be doing so much in the future. It's like you can't just stop AI from a business standpoint, from a school standpoint. Like you have to embrace it and make rules that come with it.
Mm.
That's what I feel like.
Man, I just thought of a great marketing gig for ChatGPT. You heard it here first, Perspective Podcast. So AI is artificial intelligence. ChatGPT helps you get answers,
Mm-hmm.
right? NBA fans, you following me? AI, what's the answer? ChatGPT, get Allen Iverson on your team and have a commercial that says I had the answer and have him cross over Michael Jordan. But now you laughing, bro. That was on the spot off the dome. That's crazy.
It's just
Viewers,
the way
y'all
it's just the way you
come
set it up was so bad. Like I
comment
just
down below. Comment down below. Spam the
comment
comments. Spam
comment
the
a
comments.
corn emoji. If you down there in the comments, comment a corn emoji. That's how I know
I
you watch
beg
this
you. I
video.
beg your pardon. But nah, in the terms of academic, this to me is gonna force these schools to start teaching for students to learn versus teaching and giving out curriculum for me to remember and to recite stuff. Like, I mean, even in tests that weren't open book, or that weren't supposed to be open book, like teach students how like what they need to retain to learn. I can tell you so many classes where I was just studying to remember for that day. I wasn't studying to remember for the future. And I feel like they try to hinder so much when it comes to AI or the internet. We don't want students to not do this. First off, I feel like the grading system is terrible. I mean, obviously that helps you have a metric on how you're gonna on how students are doing. But I feel like grades cause anxiety, not for me, but for students, it causes anxiety. And it doesn't necessarily help to learn. Like teachers will say, oh,
Don't worry about
why
the
y'all worried
grade.
about grades, scholarships, grants, all of that stuff. Take that away and make school shorter. We already talked about that episode one, and make it to where students are enjoying the process of learning. So they can use ChatGPT to be creative because even through that software and that source, you still had to be creative to come up with different prompts. If we type the same prompt, we probably get the same answer. But if I phrase it differently, you know what? ChatGPT, I know the subject is how to, just a random subject. I can phrase it differently. I can put different punctuation in there so the artificial intelligence will make that better. Like I just feel like it's so, especially academics, because that's the big thing that you hear about academics. Businesses love ChatGPT, but academics, how can professors stop this? How can your students learn better? Stop trying to hinder their
It's
learning, and that's the big thing that I think that artificial intelligence use it for the good versus trying to take it away from your students. Because technology, newsflash, is not going anywhere. It is going to keep increasing and keep coming a part of our lives. Look at this. I'm in South Carolina, you in Ohio, we doing a podcast. Technology not going anywhere. So
and I mean it's like, you know, long story short, how do you learn? By finding out the answer. That's how you learn something. I mean,
oh
you can obviously say, you got to take the time to figure out the problem, but like I'm not gonna know how to do something. I'm not gonna know how to form an LLC unless someone tells me exactly how to do it, tells me the steps to do it, shows me this is how you do it. Like I need the answer to learn it. So it's like, especially what Brian said, like a lot of the stuff, especially in high school. Oh my goodness, I'm not learning. I don't care about the stuff. I'm not needing this for life skills. Like I'm learning it just to get it done for the test on Friday. Then I'm never gonna use it again. Y equals mx squared plus b. Like I'm
yo,
learning it
you
for
say that
this.
wrong all the time. Y equals mx plus b. It's not squared.
It's not mx squared. It is mx squared.
It's y equals mx plus b.
My
My point
point.
exactly.
My point is, bro, come on, bro. My point exactly. I learned
Yeah.
it for the test that Friday, and literally, once I walked out of that classroom, once I put my pencil down, out of my mind forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, it's more about it's being resourceful. If I can say, all right, Cale, or all right, employee, whoever, here's the problem. Now, I want you to come back to me when you figure it out, and they can use networking, use I don't know, social skills, interpersonal skills to figure out the problem and come back with an answer that's right. Okay, that's all I mean. Like, why do I need you to sit there? And I can just say waste time, but why do I need you to sit there and spend twice the amount of time trying to actually work it out step by step when you can Google or punch a few buttons and figure out the answer instantly? Like,
Yeah. I know I'm gonna definitely use it. I've seen a lot of people use it, and I know the first time it came out, it was actually too many people that did use it, so they had to kind of shut it down or they had to limit the users on it. But
I think you have to be a
I'm
member now. You have to like pay to use or something like that. But yeah,
see,
same thing.
see, here they go. Which, if it's that effective, I mean, if you're a business, I feel like that's especially with social media content, and as we know, I mean, even with the podcast, we not saying we struggle with captions, but you might think of, man, what can I say for a caption, or what audiences can I reach, or what I need a content calendar for this month. You can go to
Hmm.
your chat GPT. I have a photography business and I'm looking for different ideas. What are some things that I could do?
I mean, and there's so
And
many
you
different
know what I mean? Like,
it's so many different types of AI out there. AI that will make images for you. I mean, it's obviously about AI that can do like deep fakes. Like there's like a image going viral of like Trump being arrested that's not real. Like so it does get kind of
no, that
scary
was
at some
crazy.
point. Yeah,
That
it
was
does
crazy.
get
I had to take a double take. I was like,
yeah,
let's
it
bro.
it does get a little scary with some of the stuff they can do. But from a business standpoint, it's like AI, like I said, AI can post the videos for you, post your post for you, transcript transcribe the videos for you, tell you what to talk about, record for you. Like it just from a business standpoint, like it can just do so much for you. I don't say you don't need employees, but it's like it can do a lot of the workload for you.
It's
And
more pros than cons for sure.
yeah, it's just being resourceful. That's how I look at it. Like this product out here is free for anybody to use. Why would I waste time trying to do it all myself when I can have somebody, traditional employee, or have a robot, AI robot to do it for me, Wally to do it for me.
Man, hey, chat GPT. That idea I gave y'all, no kill, shut it down. But please, if you want me on your marketing team, just holler at your boy, Brian Sims Jr. I'm not hard to find at all. Brian Sims Jr. hit me up on any social media platform. But yeah, man, it's more pros than cons, and I feel like I said, from what all that we talked about credit, we talked about this, talked about that, but I feel like the grand scheme of this whole episode is just like things are changing in our lives individually, and things are changing around for stuff around us. Obviously, they always change, but it's okay. Like, I mean, you go to ChatGPT, hey, I have a blank credit score and I'm looking to buy a house. Like, what if that is a new Google, but just more specific? I
Hmm.
don't have to go to a link, but it gives me a prompt of things I got to do. So that is definitely interesting and promising. We can talk about that for another episode. Obviously, we love us some b-ball, basketball, March
March
Madness,
Madness.
Sweet 16 just popped off, man. Upsets. I mean, what do you think was probably your favorite game of like the first two rounds? What do you think of your
I,
favorite game?
I mean, as y'all know, Carolina fan, it hurts. It hurts every time I have to talk about college basketball. It just hurts me to the core. Uh, I like the Arkansas game when they last beat Auburn.
Like, no, oh, they beat Kansas. They beat Kansas.
Oh, Kansas, yeah. Can't remember the game. And I also, Brian knows this. I'm a Coach Cal hater. I love seeing Kansas State eliminate Kentucky
Hey, go
again.
into that a little bit. Go into that. Drop a little Coach Cal hate on the pod.
Bro, I'm telling you right now, I know people are gonna say, "Oh, he has championships." I think I saw something the other day that says he
He
has
has
like
one. He has one.
yeah. I think I saw something the other day that says he has the best record in like March Madness, like ever. And it's funny. Somebody commented that Hubert Davis is 5-1. He's only lost one. He's only lost one game ever in March Madness, which is technically true. He didn't make it this year, so that's technically true. But I don't know, bro. It's like for Coach Cal to get 5 stars every year, and then never really go far with them. I mean, it just shows. I think he's not a good coach, personally. I mean, and
Mm-hmm.
and and it started. I think he's overrated. I don't want to say he's a bad coach, but he's overrated. I feel like he's a bad coach. I'll say it. Whatever.
That's
Uh,
fair to say.
it started. I'll be brief about it. It started with me when he had that team with Towns and Devin Booker, and they went 32-1 and lost to Wisconsin, I think, maybe
Frank
Indiana, one of those two.
Kaminsky.
Yeah, that's when it started for me. And then it really doubled down for me when he threw Cameron Fletcher under the bus, like 2 or 3 years ago. When Cameron was mad he wasn't playing because I'm a 5 star. You recruited me here to play. I'm a 5 star. Why am I not playing?
You
And
lying to me.
he threw him under the bus and went to Twitter out of all places. And I was like, bro, if a player goes to Twitter after the game and talks junk about one specific coach and
Mm.
uses their full name, that player's gonna get kicked off the team. But it's
The
fine when he
double
does it.
standard of player versus coach. We don't get into that. Mm.
Yeah, and then obviously him losing to I'm not saying Kansas State is a bad team, but him losing to a team with I'm assuming no 5 stars, maybe a few 4 stars. Like Kansas State's kind
Uh,
of Kansas State kind of a mid major. I
Kansas
feel
State
like
was probably the better team, though. No, they're not. Power
Kansas State
five, Big 12, Big 12.
Kansas State
They're in
basketball.
they're in the same conference as Kansas, Baylor. They're Power Five, bro.
I know
Stop.
that, but I'm saying from a basketball standpoint, like they're not a.
From a basketball standpoint, bro, they have two All Americans.
It's
They
Kansas
they,
State.
they they high major this year. They that this, bro. They're high major. Come on, bro.
I think they're better than
They're
Kentucky.
they're they're just not historically good,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you
but
don't really
they're
think of Kansas State in March Madness,
no,
round of
but
32, Sweet 16, all that. Like you don't really
but
think of
Kentucky
Kansas State.
Kentucky was the underdog though, for sure.
No,
They were Kel. Who was the higher seed?
was it not Kentucky?
No, Kentucky was 60. See, folks, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just talking.
That's how
Anyway,
I'm a Carolina fan. Anyways, like I said, he's overrated. Kansas State, I'm happy they won.
anyways,
Mr. New York City, thank you.
anyways, for a lot of reasons. Anyways, I feel like Kentucky didn't have that strong point guard, Severe Wheeler, which he was a great guard. But I'm gonna be brief about Coach K. We got to talk about everything else. But I feel like I want to hear what his players got to say, like his former players, because granted, 5 stars that were projected to go to the league in high school could have went anywhere in college, and they still would have went there. So it's easy to say, well, Kentucky produces pros. Well, he just recruits the best players that would have went pro. Like John Wall would have went to UNC, which he said he was going to go, but Tyler Hansbrough did something to him.
Hmm.
He would have still went pro. DeMarcus Cousins, Anthony Davis, Devin Booker, like all those type of top guys would have still went to the league if they would have went to another blue blood. But he has a reputation. I think he should have won with D Rose that year in Memphis, but they couldn't make a free throw to save their life. So that's an whole nother thing. You remember that year? when he coached at Memphis.
I know he coached
And
there, but I was a young dude, so I didn't watch the game. But I know he coached in
okay,
Memphis. He got a statue
young.
there too.
But anyways, bro, like March Madness for me, my favorite game, it had to be probably watching that Purdue game. And it's kind
Mhm.
of perfect segue to this new deal and just your our thoughts on it. So obviously the biggest upset of the tournament was Purdue losing to Fairleigh Dickinson, which
Back
is
to back
the second.
years.
No.
I'm saying last year they lost to St. Peter's. That was a big upset too.
Purdue lost to St. Peter's.
St. Peter's beat
Oh,
Kentucky and Purdue last year. That's back to back years.
that's
Purdue
tough.
done got
They,
finessed.
they got finesse. But the second time ever, only second time ever, where a 16 seed beat a 1 seed, and that game was just like I turned it on late. I saw like a few minutes left, but it was just interesting, like the last few minutes of the second half to see. Um, Purdue ended up losing, obviously. Fairleigh Dickinson won, and they lost the next round. So a few days ago, the head coach Tobin Anderson, who was said in the press conference to say, we're gonna rebuild for the program, yada yada yada. And this is not the first time. This is not the first time it's happened. And no.
Yada yada
Before
yada.
set the stage for me because I'm gonna take a minute. So what I'm about to say is I'm not discrediting anybody going for a better opportunity. So Tobin Anderson leads Fairleigh Dickinson to the round of 32. They lose to FAU in a tough game. A few days later, he's offered a position, takes a 5-year deal at Iona. So this is his first year at Fairleigh Dickinson. He recently came from Division 2. So I couldn't find the details of the contract, but I'm assuming 5-year deal at Iona is definitely more than Fairleigh Dickinson. But it gives the question of kind of like a double standard. So whenever a coach has a better opportunity for himself or his family, obviously you should take it. I mean, in regards to your players and respecting of their careers, like obviously communicating, being open with them. But as a player, I would not be mad at you for doing something that was best for you because I would do the same for me. But as players, we see a lot of double standards when it comes to transfer portals. Now, I've never seen a player and you'll get into this, I guess, specifically. I've never seen a player play a game and the next day transfer and he's already at a new school. I've never seen that. Now, I've seen guys get in the transfer portal maybe the night of they lost or whatever, but it takes a while for them to get to school. But it's like, obviously, COVID hurt a lot of high schoolers' time to get in college because of people staying an extra year like me and Cale. So sorry, but that COVID year, like that was a year like no other. Like we played 12 games, it was terrible. But you see a lot of stigma with the transfer portal, people running and they don't want this, they don't want to stick at our opportunity. Coaches will do not hesitate when they get a better opportunity or if they have something. There's nothing wrong with that. But my only thing is, why is it a double standard for the athlete when, in a sense, we have, in a sense, less control over our circumstances versus a coach? Like that situation with Cameron Fletcher you brought up. I can't go on my Twitter and say head coach John Calipari, he the worst, he didn't sub me in. I would be ridiculed. I would be all this coaching mafia on Twitter would bash me. But it's a double standard because you got the mafia of the coaches will be behind something that, oh man, we support this coach for leaving, but the transfer portal is ruining college basketball. Those are the same coaches that are in that transfer portal every year getting grad transfers to make their program better.
Uh-huh.
If Kansas State didn't have Keontae Johnson, they wouldn't beat Kentucky. But
Mhm.
go ahead.
And I mean, it's like you're saying, like we don't get mad when coaches do it, but we just get
Mm-hmm.
mad when coaches get mad at players for doing it. And I'll add this too: players have less time. I have, if I'm a freshman at your school and I just finished my freshman year and I want to transfer, I got 3 years left. If I'm a sophomore, I got 2 years left. Junior, I got 1 year left. Like this coach just signed a 5-year deal with Iona. That's the maximum amount of time I can play in college basketball with the Kobe year. I can only
Mm-hmm.
play for 5 years. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
we have
I didn't
less
think of that.
time. We have less time. So in a sense, I have to take my opportunity quicker because I can't stay in college for the 10 years. I can't sign a 10-year deal with Auburn basketball, Kentucky basketball, Iona football, whatever. Like, so yeah, bro, I definitely I get it, man. It's frustrating when the double standards are there.
And it's like the thing that you're talking about, just with the limited
Double
time, which
standards.
I didn't really think about that. And opportunity, and we spent the whole episode really talking about opportunities, learning, and in particular in athletics, it's a lot of things that are in a sense taken for granted. Oh, just do this, just wait your turn. It was a Georgia football player that recently said that, guys, you need to stick it out. But plenty of examples of Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Baker Mayfield. All three individuals transferred. All three individuals put themselves in a better situation, and look at them now. So that to me, that's where the narrative has to stop. That when you're transferring, you're scared of the grind. It's plenty of people that you know, and for a positive side, stayed, waited their turn, grounded it out, and got an opportunity and was able to succeed through that, whether it was the next level or just at that current level they're at. And there's plenty of people that me and you know personally that we've seen and that we've heard about that have waited their turn, stuck it out, worked hard, and the opportunity never came. So the
Mm-hmm.
narrative that you stick it out and work hard, your opportunity will come. No, that's not true. That's reality. It's not trying to be harsh. But in athletics, if somebody tells you just keep working, your time gonna come. No, if you at a certain place, I don't care how much this might go against everything that you've heard. You might be working the hardest, you might come back better. If you're not at a place where you're supposed to succeed or nobody wants your success, your time will never come at that place. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm saying. You go ahead.
And I mean, it's like in sports and in life, like there's no one glove fit or one size fits all, one glove that
Say
can
that
fit on
again.
everything to be successful. Everybody's path is different. Another athlete, Cam Newton, went to Florida his freshman year, transferred to Heisman, transferred to Auburn, won the Heisman.
Well, he went
Super,
JUCO after that, after Florida, then he went to Auburn.
oh yeah, so transferred, went to the
Roll
NFL,
Tide.
became a
I did not like Cam
went to the
Newton at
Super
all.
Bowl, won an MVP. Like it's no one size fits all to be success. And life, in sports, in business, like everybody has a different grind to be successful. Like so, it's good to listen to other people, but what's worked for the Georgia football player or Georgia athlete, it's not gonna work for everybody. Like nothing
Yeah,
wrong with taking an
nothing
opportunity
wrong
and
with that.
betting on yourself.
There's nothing wrong with sticking it out, but you just have to live with that reality that, especially seeing like how NIL is changing college football and just college athletics in general. Like, I mean, it shocked me, and you're a Carolina fan, so I want your take on it. But I thought for sure that Armando Baker was going to the league, going pro. I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
done in a sense everything that he's supposed to do on the college level other than win. So him coming back to me, obviously, I mean, they were calling him the NIL king in the comments, but if you can make $1 million and just say he want to get his master's and he wants to play in the league, but being able to graduate, get a degree opens you up to way more opportunities after you're done playing. Like we talk about NBA, we talk about that. Shaq, Charles Barkley, Kennedy Jet Smith are making millions of dollars, more money than they actually made playing,
Mm-hmm.
just being in the right position in the right rooms. And so like JJ Redick, like you see a lot of guys that are done with basketball that still have a career in basketball,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a career that's worthy of an NBA contract, NFL contract. But my question with that is like, how did that make you feel? Oh, what were your thoughts on him coming back? Like, what you think he came back strictly for NIL or because he was disappointed in the year? Like, what do you think?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, they didn't even make the tournament this year. Like, I mean, I think it's a little bit
The
of both.
not
And
NIT too.
yeah, and it's like, me and one of my friends actually goes to Carolina were talking about this. He's making more money now as a college basketball player NIL than some professionals and definitely people in the G League, like in the NBA.
Which
Like
friend? Which friend is this?
this is a guy who his name's Silas. He's from like our old
Hmm.
college area, and he like works on the women's team, so like he's around basketball a lot. But
Oh, he get paid for NIL too?
he doesn't get NIL money, but like he works for the women's teams. Like he gets free
Oh,
food. He gets he said priority
oh
registration.
yeah.
Like he's pretty much an athlete there. But it's
Okay.
like Baycott is more known in college than he will be if he goes to the league. I mean, he's making more money, and like Brian
I feel
said, he's
like
getting
last year was his best year to go.
yeah. Me and Talik were talking about that earlier. Like Baycott, if he doesn't get a championship next year, he's gonna feel like his best year was his junior year, which is when they lost to Kansas. That's the farthest
But
they
then,
made it. I
like you
mean,
said, success. What if he's happy? Like, I
yeah,
mean,
degree, money, fame. I mean, still playing basketball.
you the big man on campus, like Mondo, like, and you know how his career had to definitely change and shift because obviously, even with his junior year, sadly, just knowing how the NBA loves to draft people that are younger, that doesn't mean that they're better. Shot to the NBA, big shots. Baycott probably would have went late second round last year, even though that was probably his best year to go. But the NBA doesn't care about production. They care about how young you are on your upside. They don't care about, which I'm
Upside.
being dramatic, but they don't care about what you can do now. They care about what you can do in 5 years and how young you can be. Oh, we want an 18-year-old. Like Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson. There are exceptions in these last few drafts of like young guys really deserving those spots that they got automatically. But how can you be the best player in college basketball, one of the best players in college basketball, and you either go undrafted or you go late second round and you got to fight your way in the G League? And there's nothing wrong with the G League, but it's like, what's the point of college? And I think that's where Baycott is, in a sense, being real to know that he's a professional regardless. People talking about pack your bags for China. Please stop. Miles Powell from Seton Hall is making $7 million wherever he's playing at, in Asia. You're
Mhm.
making money, man. You're making generational money that people have never seen before. Wherever you're making that at, that's you. But when it comes to the NBA, I feel like Baycott knows that the NBA and the style that he plays knows that he might not be drafted in a priority position. So how much can you save now? How can you grow your name and your legacy even more? Get your jersey retired at Carolina. Like make history to where if things don't work out, I mean, I know you remember Joel Berry, great point guard that I feel like could have succeeded in the league if he wanted to. He's like on ACC Network now,
Yep.
continuously making money through basketball. So, and it's not all about money, but it's just about opportunity and just networking. Like Baycott don't have to worry for the rest of his life. Honestly, if you say if you want to stay in Chapel Hill, live there, you got a house. You got people that'll give you cars. Like
Everybody there knows him.
you walk in a restaurant, oh, Baycott's here, it's on us. Like,
Hmm.
so
And and I
I'm
mean,
assuming that culture is like that in North Carolina. So
briefly, he on a bigger standpoint, the donors know him. People who make the big bucks. Hey, Baycott, you want a job at my company? You want to do something for my business? Like, so yeah, I mean, he's plugged in definitely. But
for
yeah,
sure. But yeah, man. I mean, we had a great episode. Episode 7. I feel like
another
we
banger.
just another we just a lot of different topics that are relatable to us and are hopefully relatable to you. So we talked about jobs, businesses, artificial intelligence, credit, like just our sports talk as we normally have, but a lot of these things that we like to listen and go back into and say like, man, this was really things that are important, and we got to start having those conversations. So, what's kind of like your recap for this episode?
I mean, man, we started off talking about. God, I don't even remember. We started off talking about businesses and jobs, applying for jobs, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
jobs.
Uh, wages, stuff like that. How we wish companies would pay people what they're worth and not expect. I think the quote with that topic is don't expect the maximum when you're putting in the minimum. You
Mm,
know, I can't drive across the country putting $10 or $7.25 of gas in my car. I'm not gonna make it across the country. Like,
mm-hmm.
we talked about businesses, power of networking, learning things, uh, AI, March Madness. I mean, we've talked about it all, bro. It's just this is an exciting time. We talked about personal lives, stuff we want to do in the next few years. Like, this is a very exciting time in our world.
Man, episode 7, Perspective Podcast. We appreciate y'all. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at the.perspective.pod. You know I gotta say it. One podcast, two perspectives. Episode 7. We appreciate y'all. Comment down below what you think.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all for watching. We're gonna make sure we keep these episodes coming out. Like I said, we probably most active on Instagram. So please keep checking out the reels, man. We appreciate all the feedback, man. And yeah, see y'all next time.
Yes, sir.